In April 2023, 489 Porsche Carrera GT units were recalled by the manufacturer to address potential suspension issues. In September 2024, it became known that, as a bonus, each of the 489 owners would receive a specially designed set of Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 N-Spec tires for the Hypercar, which was released over 20 years ago. This news would not have warranted a separate article if not for one unfortunate fact. The Carrera GT is rightfully considered one of the most dangerous cars of the past half-century, having claimed more than one life. This recall campaign is not just another attempt by the manufacturer to avoid reputational risks and lawsuits. It vividly marks the end of an era when simply having a fat wallet was not enough to get behind the wheel of a car that represented the pinnacle of technical evolution of its time. The upgraded suspension and modern tires are just some of the few things that the company from Zuffenhausen could offer Carrera GT owners to make the unruly bundle of racing technologies from the early 21st century slightly more suitable for public roads today. Let's first recall what kind of car this is. We're talking about the early 2000s, when all the attention of four-wheeled enthusiasts, whether school children racing in computer simulators or journalists from the world's largest publications, was focused on three cars: the Mercedes SLR McLaren, the Ferrari Enzo, and the Porsche Carrera GT. Three brands with incredibly rich motorsport histories presented the world with their machines, each embodying the full engineering potential that could be realized outside the racetrack. Ferrari, as usual, leveraged its Formula One expertise. Mercedes paid homage to the legendary 300 SL Gullwing, and Porsche responded with a carbon chassis, a 603 horsepower naturally aspirated 5.7-liter V10 engine originally intended for motorsport, a 6-speed manual transmission, and the absence of a stability control system. In 2006, a passenger in a Carrera GT died in a crash in California, and during the subsequent legal proceedings, the German manufacturer cited two reasons for why they opted out of active safety systems in this model. First, the design of the rear suspension with horizontal shock absorbers inherently cannot ensure the proper functioning of ESC, PSM in Porsche terminology. Second, customers simply didn't want PSM. They wanted complete, unfiltered control over the car, providing that sense of unity with the machine, where the connection between the driver and the mechanism is more analog than a sundial. It's unlikely that the defendant lied about the wishes of potential buyers, and we all know from accident statistics, regardless of city, country, or continent, that driving skills are not sold alongside the vehicle, no matter its cost. A few months before the aforementioned incident, renowned collector and avid car enthusiast Jay Leno lost control of the stubborn machine and hit a barrier at one of the fastest tracks on the NASCAR calendar, Talladega Superspeedway. Yes, Jay Leno is not a professional racer, but he has driven many fast cars and has extensive experience. Yet, he couldn't keep the Porsche on the track with its perfect surface, which has only 5 turns, all left-handed. This says a lot about the Carrera GT's character. The most high-profile incident involving the German hypercar was the crash that claimed the lives of famous actor Paul Walker and his friend Roger Rodas, who was behind the wheel on that fateful day, November 30, 2013. On a road section with a speed limit of 45 mph, Rodas lost control, and at a speed of 80 to 93 mph, the car hit a pole, leading to a fire. The investigation concluded that one of the causes of the accident was the tires. The odometer of the Carrera GT, fitted with factory tires and produced in 2005, showed only 3,500 miles. In other words, the tires were at least 8 years old, and as they age, they degrade, which is why many manufacturers strongly recommend replacing tires after 6 years, regardless of usage conditions. Add to this the significant speeding and the fact that the driver should have been aware of the risks and understood what he was actually driving. However, these conclusions are obvious. The question of how appropriate it was for the manufacturer to release such a vehicle for public roads lies more in the ethical realm. Formally, it met all the technical requirements of the countries where it was sold, and the fact that a car is a source of increased danger is also enshrined in the legislation of most states. However, even before sales began, the memo for all potential owners noted that the car is extremely sensitive to road profile, and how difficult it is to operate the innovative clutch when starting from a standstill was mentioned in every test drive. The Carrera GT truly turned out to be extremely demanding of driving skills, lacked driver assistance systems, and did not forgive mistakes. The internet has at least a couple of videos where attempts to start end up in a parked sedan. In short, the title Widowmaker didn't stick to the Carrera GT for no reason. The initial reason for the recall campaign was cracks in the suspension ball joints discovered during a service inspection at a dealership in August 2019 on one specific car. Now, a bit of chronology from Porsche's official report. Later, on October 22, 2020, 20 cars were inspected to better understand the issue, and no critical damage caused by corrosion was found. Observations continued until January 2023, showing that the X46CR13 steel used in the ball joints lacks sufficient corrosion resistance, especially when operated in regions with a maritime climate or where roads are treated with salt. This is why all cars sold in the US were recalled in April 2023. Each case was considered individually. If the inspection showed no dangerous changes, the owner could continue using their hypercar as usual. If issues were found, the manufacturer strongly recommended parking the car until replacement parts were available. Rumors suggest that during this time, Porsche was willing to offer a loaner car and service for up to $3,240 to get the Carrera GT back on the road after prolonged storage. It's unclear what they offered as a loaner, but it's doubtful it was the 918 Spider, which replaced the Carrera GT in 2013. However, they certainly didn't skimp on the funds needed to update everything that had rusted, dried out, or deteriorated during the long storage. Ultimately, 17 months passed between the start of the recall and the availability of new components, which included not only ball joints made of more corrosion-resistant 42 chromis-4 steel but also new titanium control arms all around. According to renowned blogger Doug DeMuro, each unit in the recall campaign cost the company $109,000. The new Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 N-Spec tires, sized 265/35R19 at the front and 335/30R20 at the rear, homologated specifically for the Carrera GT, seem to have been somewhat of an apology for the inconvenience caused. However, to say that the tire upgrade was merely a marketing move would be a lie. Consider this: the braking distance from 200 km/h was reduced by 12 meters. And all journalists who had the chance to drive the car in its old configuration noted that the unruly machine had become much more predictable and manageable in corners. And if the opinions of journalists and drivers are inherently subjective, one can turn to the impartial numbers from the Nürburgring. In December 2024, Porsche test driver Jürg Bergmeister completed the Nordschleife in 7 minutes 12.69 seconds. Nearly 15 seconds faster than the time set by rally legend Walter Röhrl 20 years ago. Anyone who follows manufacturer rivalries on the track nicknamed the Green Hell understands that 15 seconds is an eternity. What conclusions can we draw from all of the above? Tire technology is progressing at least as fast as the engineers developing internal combustion engines. How would a McLaren F1, Ferrari F40, or Bugatti EB110 perform with new tires? Intriguing, isn't it? When individuals with media influence, often lacking any authority in the world of fast cars, began shouting on every corner that Porsche had released a vehicle for public roads that was almost a tool for reducing the population of wealthy men. Porsche approached the issue with the meticulousness typical of Germans. The engineers thoroughly investigated the matter and provided their loyal customers with a level of service that would be hard to find elsewhere. With the current average price of $1,400,000 for a Carrera GT, they invested over $100,000 to ensure their 20-year-old flagship remains relevant in 2025, while also minimizing its appearances in accident reports and tabloid scandals. Moreover, addressing the shortcomings of past models in new ones is a trend almost as old as the automotive industry itself. Credit must be given to the company from Zuffenhausen. They are deeply involved not only with their latest releases but also with what rolled out of their assembly lines a couple of decades ago. Even if you strain your memory, few similar examples come to mind.